Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at the All Blacks and their plan for the 2027 Rugby World Cup.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, I'm really pumped for this one.
Mm.
I was looking at this article on Rugby Pass with Scott Hansen,
Okay.
and he's the All Blacks attack coach.
Right.
And it just got me thinking about, what their plan is. How are they going to stay at the top?
Mm-hmm.
Because, they've had kind of a mixed season.
Yeah, they have.
Some wins, some losses.
Yeah, and the global competition is tougher than ever.
It is.
It's amazing how much the rest of the world has caught up.
Yeah.
And, they're still expected to be at the top of their game.
Right.
So it's a really unique challenge they're facing.
Yeah. So how do they do that?
Well,
How do they stay on top? How do they win now and build for the future?
exactly. It's that balance.
Yeah.
And Hansen actually talks about that a bit in this article.
He does.
They brought in 12 new players this year.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Huge influx of new talent. And he talks about, creating different layers around relationships and growth.
Okay.
So it's not just about getting these new guys on the pitch. It's
No.
really thinking about how to integrate them
Yeah.
into the team culture and create an environment where they can actually develop.
So I'm really interested in this idea of quality of experience versus just racking up test caps.
Yes,
Because Hansen really emphasizes this in the article.
he does.
But I don't really know what that looks like in practice.
Yeah, so what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
Well, he gives us one example that really stood out to me
Okay.
about a player learning from a missed line-out throw
Okay.
in a high-pressure situation.
Right.
And he uses the recent match in Paris
Yep.
as an example.
Mhm.
And this is where it gets really interesting because you might think, well, a missed line-out is a missed line-out.
Right.
But he's arguing that those moments, even the negative ones, can be really valuable
Yep.
for player development,
Yeah.
especially when it happens in a crucial match like that.
I see what you mean, because in a pressure cooker, like that Paris match,
Exact.
even a small mistake can have huge consequences.
Go totally.
So maybe the lesson learned from a miss
Right.
in that kind of environment is more impactful than, say, a successful throw in a less intense game.
Yeah, and to really understand the weight of this missed line-out,
Okay.
you have to think about the technical aspects.
Okay.
In that moment, the pressure is on.
Hmm.
The throw has to be precise, not just to reach the target,
Right.
but to avoid a turnover.
Yeah.
And if that throw goes astray, it could be a stolen possession for the opposition,
Oh, wow.
which could swing the momentum of the whole match.
I'm starting to get a sense of how intense that must be
Oh, yeah.
for the player.
Absolutely.
It's like one single throw can make or break the game.
Yeah, and that's why Hansen believes that even these errors can be powerful learning experiences.
Okay.
The player feels that pressure, analyzes what went wrong,
Right.
and then uses that to improve their decision-making and execution in future high-stakes scenarios.
So it's not just technical, it's mental and emotional as well.
Exactly. It's a deeper understanding of the game.
Yeah, it's like that missed line out becomes a building block for future successes.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is he uses the debut of Peter Lakai in that same match as another example of this philosophy.
Wow. Talk about throwing him in the deep end.
I know, right?
That must have been an incredible learning experience for him.
Oh, for sure. Even if it was nerve-wracking.
Oh, yeah.
It makes you wonder if there's a bit of strategy here as well.
Okay.
Like maybe they're exposing these younger players.
To these intense environments.
Yeah, early on.
Okay.
To accelerate their development and see how they perform under pressure.
It's like trial by fire.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But, in a supportive way.
Yeah.
With that emphasis on growth.
Yeah, with that emphasis on growth that we talked about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's one other thing I wanted to touch on in the article.
Yeah, okay.
He mentions this need for the All Blacks to evolve their game, but he doesn't really go into detail about it.
Yeah, it was almost like a side comment,
Yeah.
but it's a big deal.
Huge.
They can't just rely on what's worked in the past.
Nope. The game is constantly changing.
Yeah.
They need to adapt and innovate to stay ahead.
So we've got some clues about this emphasis on experience,
Right.
but what does that mean for how they're actually going to play?
Exactly. What changes are they going to make?
What new strategies are they developing?
Yeah, because the 2027 World Cup is coming up fast.
It is. I'm dying to know what they're cooking up.
Me too. It's going to be exciting to watch it all unfold.
Yeah, it is.
I know, right? It's like a puzzle.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
In this whole approach to development, the quality of experience, it really makes me think about how we measure the value of different experiences in rugby.
That's a great point.
Like, if a player makes a mistake in a crucial match, but learns something from it, is that as valuable as a perfect performance in a less intense game?
Yeah, That's such an interesting question
It is.
because it really challenges how we traditionally evaluate players,
Yeah,
just based on stats or wins and losses.
right.
Maybe we need to look beyond that
Mm-hmm.
and consider the growth that can come from adversity.
Yeah, I think you're right. Sometimes those moments when things don't go to plan are the moments when we learn the most.
Absolutely. It's all about how they respond.
Yeah, how they adapt, how they improve.
Exactly. And it seems like the All Blacks are actually embracing those moments,
That's true.
seeing those moments of adversity
Yeah,
as opportunities for growth.
yeah. It's a real mindset shift.
Yeah,
And I wonder if that could have a ripple effect across the whole sport.
I think it could.
Yeah,
If other teams start adopting this philosophy,
right.
it could change the way we think about developing players.
And how we even evaluate talent.
Yeah, it's like they're saying the journey to the World Cup isn't going to be a straight line.
Right.
There are going to be bumps along the way.
Mistakes will be made.
Yeah, but it's all part of the process.
It is. And that actually reminds me of something you said earlier about the All Blacks evolving their game.
Yeah.
What if those bumps, those mistakes, are all part of that evolution?
Well,
What if they're pushing their players outside of their comfort zones to experiment and take risks,
okay.
knowing that some of those risks might not pay off immediately,
Yeah.
but could lead to breakthroughs down the line?
It's like using those high-pressure situations as a testing ground
Exactly.
for new ideas, for new tactics.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder what specific areas of their game they might be looking to evolve.
Well, they've always been known for their dynamic attacking style.
Right.
So maybe they're trying to add some more variety,
Mm-hmm.
maybe some unexpected tactical elements.
Teach their opponents guessing.
Yeah. And they've brought in all these new players this year.
That's true.
And a lot of them have different skill sets.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're trying to leverage those strengths
Yeah.
and create a more unpredictable attack.
Yeah, they might be experimenting with different combinations of players.
Right?
Trying new formations.
Yeah.
And seeing how those dynamics play out in different situations.
And, Hansen mentioned creating different layers within the team.
Yes.
Maybe that's what he meant.
Yeah, building a team with multiple layers of tactical flexibility.
Like a Swiss Army knife.
Exactly.
Wow.
Each player bringing something unique.
Yeah.
And that kind of adaptability would be so important at the World Cup.
It would.
You're facing so many different opponents.
Right, with different styles of play.
Exactly.
Okay, so it sounds like they're putting a lot of emphasis on these diverse experiences.
Yes.
They're willing to experiment,
Mm-hmm.
and they're building this multi-layered team.
It seems like it.
So it seems like they're creating a team that's not just skilled, but also adaptable and resilient.
And ultimately, that's what it takes to win a World Cup.
Yeah,
It's not just about having the best players.
right.
It's about having a team that can handle anything that's thrown at them.
Adapt and overcome adversity.
Yeah.
Rise to the occasion.
And if anyone can pull it off,
It's the All Blacks.
I think so. They've got that history of innovation, that culture of excellence. They've
Yeah.
always pushed the boundaries.
Okay, so bringing this back to our listeners for a moment,
Okay.
I think there's a valuable lesson here
Mm-hmm.
that goes beyond rugby.
Absolutely.
This idea of embracing challenges, seeking out diverse experiences.
It's something we can all do.
Yeah, whether you're an athlete,
An artist.
an entrepreneur.
Anything. Stepping outside of your comfort zone can be so rewarding.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that growth comes from those moments when we're forced to adapt.
To new situations.
Yeah.
And that's something we should all strive for.
Okay, so we've talked about their philosophy,
Yeah.
their approach to player development,
Mm-hmm.
but what specific tactical changes might we actually see?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is, but let's speculate a bit.
Okay.
All right, put on your analyst hats, everyone.
All right. So I think first we're going to see an even bigger emphasis on attacking versatility. They're already incorporating more varied attacking patterns.
Right.
I think that's going to continue. Maybe more offloading and contact.
Okay.
Using those powerful forwards to create more opportunities.
I like that.
And with the speed and skill of their backs,
Yeah.
they could really take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah, and what about their kicking game?
Ooh, good point.
Because they're known for running rugby,
They are.
but maybe they need something else.
Well, in the modern game, you need to be adaptable.
Yeah.
You need to be able to adjust to different conditions,
Mm-hmm.
different opponents.
Yeah.
So I think we could see them using their kicking game more strategically,
Okay.
not just for territory,
Yeah.
but as an attacking weapon.
Like we've seen with Ireland and France.
Exactly. They've had a lot of success with that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So it sounds like they're trying to become even more unpredictable.
On both sides of the ball,
Yeah.
keeping their opponents guessing.
Yeah, making them react
Yeah.
instead of dictating the terms.
Exactly.
And that's where the diverse experiences come in.
Right.
They're exposing their players to all these different challenges
Yeah.
so that they're prepared to handle anything.
At the World Cup.
Yeah.
So they're not just physically and technically gifted,
Mhm.
they're also mentally agile
Okay.
and tactically adaptable.
I'm getting really excited about the future of the All Blacks.
Me too.
If they can pull this off,
Yeah,
they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
definitely one of the favorites going into 2027.
Yeah, it really does feel like a new era for them.
It does. A really exciting time for All Blacks rugby.
Yeah, and what's so interesting to me is that they're not afraid to, challenge those old ideas about how you build a winning team
Yeah, they're making us rethink our assumptions about success.
and how we evaluate players.
Exactly. It's not just about the wins and losses anymore.
Yeah, it's about so much more than that.
It is. It's about the growth, the development.
Yeah, and that actually reminds me of something we were talking about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
This idea of valuing diverse experiences.
Right.
But how do we actually quantify that?
That's the question, isn't it?
It is. How do we measure the weight of those different experiences?
Yeah, like you were saying, if a player shines under pressure but makes a few mistakes,
Yeah.
is that more valuable than a perfect performance when the stakes aren't as high?
Right. Or how do we compare a missed line out in a crucial moment to a try in a less intense game?
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It really is. It gets to the heart of what we've been talking about.
About the quality of experience.
Exactly.
It's not just about how much you play.
Yeah.
It's about what you learn from those experiences.
Absolutely. So it's a complex equation,
It is.
and there's no easy answer.
No, but I think by asking these questions,
Yeah.
by challenging those traditional metrics,
Mm-hmm.
we can start to understand excellence in a whole new way.
Okay, so for our listeners out there,
Yeah.
as you're watching the All Blacks on their journey to the 2027 World Cup, I think it's important to remember to look beyond the scores and the stats.
Absolutely.
Look for those moments of growth,
Yeah.
those battles won and lost,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll start to see the game
In a whole new way.
in a much deeper and more complex way.
Yeah, and you might even find some inspiration for your own journey,
That's a great point.
whatever that might be.
Yeah, because this isn't just about rugby.
No, it's about life.
It's about embracing challenges,
Yeah.
seeking out those diverse experiences,
Mm-hmm.
and constantly striving to grow.
Well said.
Well, I think we've covered a lot today,
We have.
and I'm definitely walking away with a lot to think about.
Me too. It's been a great discussion.
And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
on our next Deep Dive.